You're watching It's Your Money with Charles Spence, attorney with Maine's Bradford Ships and Sheftel. And today we're going to talk about asset protection. So what is asset protection?
Well, it's a good question because I think there are maybe misconceptions as far as what that is. When you go to normally visit with an attorney about asset protection, you really see that for most attorneys, they're looking at, okay, you have someone that is basically suing you or pursuing a judgment against you because something's happened. You know, you've committed a negligent act or some other circumstance has arisen, and they're going through the court system to get a judgment against you in order to pursue and collect on that and get a monetary sum back. In my mind, there are a number of different planning activities from an attorney that are actually encompass the idea of wealth preservation, asset protection, as well as including estate planning, passing assets onto your heirs in a well-organized manner, business succession planning, exit strategies, tax planning. They're all kind of minimization of potential harms and risks out there. But traditionally, when you go to see an attorney, that's what they're going to be looking at.
So say someone fell at my house and they want to sue me and take my house. Can I do something to protect my house from them taking it?
You may be able to. If it's a challenge in some respects. We'll come back to this in a minute, but there are some laws in place that you have to be aware of before you actually ever try to kind of jump into this type of planning. Colorado has a set of uniform laws, Colorado Uniform Fraudulent Transfers Act, in which if there is an indication that there's an actual intent to hinder, delay, or defraud a creditor, that a creditor can come back and unwind a transaction, maybe depending on the severity, perhaps impose civil penalties, other penalties involved. And that really is all based on facts, badges of fraud. You know, no one will openly admit that, hey, I was trying to defraud my creditor. So they're going to look at, did you have an inter-family transfer? Were things to an entity that you still control? Were you concealing it? Things like that. And they're going to make their judgment on it. So,
well, what are some asset protection tools?
Well, you know, it's a good question because I think a lot of people, in particular, are under the impression that trusts are an asset protection vehicle. That may not be the case. Revocable living trusts, which are pretty common, typically are not really asset protection vehicles because you can amend it, you can revoke it, you can modify it however you may need at that particular time. There are some irrevocable trusts that might be asset protection vehicles, like domestic asset protection trusts, offshore asset protection trusts. Those are pretty involved. There can be some complexity with them, and you have to give up a great deal of control with it. I mean, that's the whole idea. So that may or may not be a fit. For a common situation that you may see is like rental properties. That's considered a hot asset for purposes of generating liability. You may want to look at segregating out properties in that respect for rental properties into LLCs, where you can have what they call charging order protection against distributions from the LLC for a creditor, or perhaps other issues and kind of can protect those particular assets, have them segregated, and so that you're not personally liable for particular judgments.
So the bottom line is, so that you don't commit fraud, you go see an attorney like Charles Spence. Yeah. Well, thank you for giving us a quick overview on asset protection. If you want to know more about asset protection, contact Charles at mbssllp.com. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Deborah Uroda for It's Your Money.